Welcome to Being That Woman, the podcast where you stop waiting to create the love, life, and freedom you've been craving. I'm Anna Christina, and this is where you become that woman. Hello and welcome. Wow, I can't believe this is actually happening. Welcome to episode 1 of my podcast. This has been quite a journey to get here. It has been a long time that I've been desiring to really step into this space and share with you. And I couldn't think of a better time in my life to actually start this journey. The beginning of my 4th decade, yes, turning 40. So thank you for being here on this journey with me, and thank you for letting me be in your ears. And I'm really, really excited to kick off this 2-part series. And in True Leo style, this first episode is all about me. I'm going to speak into some of the really core experiences that brought me to this space where I am today. You know, where I've lived a life and I've created some really beautiful, epic, big, expansive, unconventional experiences in my life that honestly, the 15-year-old version of me when I was dreaming in high school of what my life would be, would never have imagined that this would be the life that I would be living. And it is child-free, it is man-free, it is living life solo at 40. But from a way in which I feel experiencing life is really rich, and I feel deeply rich inside in who I be, not necessarily what I have or what I've done, even though those things definitely played a part. So in this first episode, I really just want to touch on one of the things that I never knew up until the age of 29 when I first landed in this big experience. And that was that whatever we believe about ourselves will manifest itself into the experiences of our life, and we will co-create, co-sign a life based on that belief. So one of the things that I really touched on when I had a huge breakup at 29 was I had this story and this belief that I'm not good enough, that I'm difficult, that no one's gonna love me, that no one loves me. And of course, that created a lot of challenges in that relationship. Now, I'm not going to talk about that relationship on this episode. You'll have to hit episode 2 for that one specifically, because I really just want to rewind and share with you where that came from and just how long I was holding that story for, and why it meant that life felt really challenging, really hard. And I just wasn't experiencing life in a way which I enjoyed myself, who I was and who I was in relationships with. Everything, as I said, felt really, really challenging. And I remember one of the core places where this first belief of
I'm difficult, I'm not good enough, I need to do more, I need to be more, I need to be better in order to be loved, liked and approved of by the outside world.
I know exactly where it came from. It came from this one experience with my mum. And me and my mum had quite a challenging relationship. You know, we were at each other's throats. I was very, very close to my mum when I was younger. I was very kind of close to my dad as well. But they were never really around. And when they were around, I really wanted their attention. And they were always worried about money or fighting or arguing. And I lived in a home of domestic violence as well. So there was a lot of confusion and conflict. So when my dad left at 12, my mum was on her own, working really hard. She didn't have space for me or my emotions because she was in survival mode. I get that now. However, back then, I was also the teenager that was very angry, very moody, and I would flare up. My anger and my rage would flare up a lot, and you could see when Anna wasn't in a good mood. And there was this one experience in the kitchen. I must have been about 14. And I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. And I can't remember if the words that came out of her mouth were before or after the action that I created, which was throwing a pan at her. It missed her, and there was nothing in the pan, thankfully. But she said, Anna, you're going to be a very difficult person to love one day. And I just remember feeling so much rage inside of my body, so much hatred, so much detest and disgust. And I then remember that holding that, I buried it so deeply, but I remember holding a texture of that my whole life. I was difficult in my relationships. I was difficult in my friendships. Like the minute a friend would do something that I didn't like, one strike and you're out. It literally played out all through my 20s and even into the first part of my 30s. And the thing for the Anna back then, the 14, 15-year-old Anna that was going through so much at home and so much confusion and couldn't be in her emotions and was never even really asked, like, you know, what's going on for you? It would always be like, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And at school, it was really difficult as well. Like I'd go home and there'd be no one home, or it would be eggshells with my mum. And then I'd go to school and it would be eggshells with my actual friends who were bullying me. So there was like 3 girls in this 8 group. And then the other girls were like confidants. They were great girls, but they were also scared of these other 3/4 girls. There was 2 of them in particular. And when they came into school and they wanted to be mean, the other girls would follow. And I just remember never feeling really safe around them. And I think to myself, like, why didn't I just find new friends? And of course, back then it's not easy, because moving to another set of friends is like you've been rejected by these. So who wants you if this group of people have rejected you? So I just remember being like, oh, this is my only option. It's only this or don't go to school. And I used to try and get sick notes all the time at school. I hated going to school. I hated it. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I could not wait to leave. I couldn't wait to get away from these girls. Because honestly, every single day was, do they like me or do they not? Are they going to be nice today or are they not? Am I going to have like a snidey comment today or not? And it was really, really terrifying. And I couldn't even touch the terror because it was that scary. And of course, if I think I'm difficult by that point and I'm having an experience like that, and I've attracted these girls into my life, and back then I didn't realize that every single person and every single experience that you meet with is a beautiful gift, slightly strange one, that's here to really support you in your evolution and building your resilience and speaking your truth and raising your voice. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I've created this podcast, is because I want to give voice to her, to the 14, 15-year-old, to my 20-something, to my 29-year-old. And I didn't realize back then, like, this is so precious and the words we speak have so much power and they can protect us. And instead, I just froze. I just checked out. I couldn't wait to get out of school, couldn't wait to get away from those girls. I couldn't wait to live my life. And honestly, I thought after school things would be great and go to university and get a job and meet a man. And I was very much enrolled into that whole landscape. And of course, I left school, but I left with the belief, because I didn't know back then what I know now, is that our results in our life come from our behaviors. And our behaviors come from a somewhat amalgamation of our emotions and our thoughts. And those thoughts essentially are generated from the subconscious, from the belief system, from what we've created from experiences, whether we have closed the loop on what that meant for us and expressed the emotion and found the relief and the release from the body and the mind from that experience and grieved it, then we'll carry memory tags of that experience. And then we'll hold that as truth. And then we're searching in the world for what is safe for us based on our truth, based on what's held in this epic part of us called the reticular activating system of the nervous system, which is constantly distorting, deleting, and generalizing anything that we hold as truth as the sensory information from the outside world. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that when I studied psychology for a year at university. One of the things that I left school with was hope. but not much understanding of what I should actually do with my life, with these feelings that I had inside of me, the anxiety that generated from those experiences, the fear that was still held in my body. Because after that, I found it really challenging to trust women. I found it really challenging to be in a career. I worked in fashion for 10 years where it's full of women. It's tons of women. And it's, of course, I chose a career with the sex that I was in fear of the most. And that made life just extra, like a washing machine of what the fuck. And then living in London was a whole separate piece, because I moved to London after university. Life will be better in London. I remember dreaming of living in London for the longest time since I was 12 years old. And me and my mum and my auntie and my cousin, we used to get the coach to Poland for the summer. And we'd drive there because my mum hated flying. And I remember going through the streets of London in this bus and seeing the white houses. And I just remember visioning that I would live in one of those houses in like a townhouse with a beautiful car outside and a man and 2 children. I can even today still see the vision that I created back then. So I moved to London to study and work in fashion, and to get away from Manchester, to get away from my mum, to get away from the town and the school and all those memories. And didn't live in a whitewashed townhouse. It was, I actually moved 10 times when I was in London, and most of the time it was ex-council houses in East London, a far cry from the kind of like West London life that I'd envisaged when I was 12 anyway. But it was a great period of my life of learning, of fun, and of a lot of challenges and hardships. But the main piece that I really want to drive home is that belief was still there. The 14, 15-year-old girl had grown into a 20-something who had done great at university and used all of that energy and all of that anger and all of the pain and all of the anxiety to do something really beautiful with her life, and it gave me such drive. And that is the light side of what happened. It gave me drive. And, there was even, in full transparency, a tinge of, I'll show you, I'll show them. And that's one of the blessings that I have from that experience, is that it supported me in growing. It made me bigger. And it made me rise. Maybe not at the time when I was hiding and not wanting to go to school, but it definitely moved me forward because I wanted to get away. I used the flight response of, I'm going to get away, I'm going to go. And there was so much beauty in that. But the belief was still there, hiding underneath the surface. I'm not good enough. I need to do better. I need to do more. I'm difficult. So, of course, landing in the fashion world, and over that period, the period of 10 years, I was made redundant 5 times. 5 times. Like, once is a stressful experience enough, and I get it. I get what it feels like to all of a sudden have the life and your bread and butter and your means to live in just wiped from underneath your feet. It happened to me 5 times. And, every single time it didn't feel any better. It wasn't as if it got better. Every single time was like, fuck, are we here again? Honestly, what is going on? And now, in vast contrast, I look back and I realize, it's just life and God and the universe just guiding me. Get stronger. Know who you are. Know how strong you are. Know how resilient you are. And also, FYI, this 9-to-5 thing is not for you. Just as a side dish, I knew I always wanted to be my own boss. I hate being told what to do. I hate being controlled. I hate having to follow orders. I'm definitely one of those people who's like, I'm just going to make up my own rules. And that's why those experiences, those types of careers never worked for me. Never. But yet here I was, not knowing what was going on, 5 redundancies, being in this career where there was women, and there was very loud women. There was very flamboyant women. There was very much women that were like see me energy, like main character energy. And I'd never been exposed to that. Mum was always at work. Mum was always working. I knew hard working women, right? And of course, at school, I couldn't play main character. I was definitely trying to do that because I loved fashion. I loved wearing things. I loved styling my hair. I loved changing. I was trying to change myself all the time because I was like, I'm difficult. I need to change, right? So fashion and that expression became a way for me to do that. However, landing in fashion in London as a 20-something was wild because it was all this main character energy that I'd never been exposed to. I was a hider. I was like the outsider, the black sheep, the not good enough one, the one that kind of skirted on the sidelines, that didn't really say much. But when I did say something, it'd come out really defensive and quite angry toned. So I just learned to kind of like blend into the background and be vanilla and just stay quiet and just be a good girl, But inside I was pissed off. Inside I was resentful. Inside I was confused. So landing in fashion, I could really see that part of me that wanted to perfect and prove and be like them. And one of the things that really came up in that time period was that nothing will ever be good enough. Like, I need to do more. I need to try more. I need to look better. And by the age of 21, 22, I'd started binge eating. And it was a real confusing, crazy time because I'd never really had a great relationship with food anyway. Around the age of 11, 12, when my dad had left, I'd stopped eating. And then when I got to college, I started eating again, but it wasn't like anything that was classed as overeating. But when I hit London, that's when it began. I was in this new place. I didn't know anyone. I moved to London at 22 years old, knowing one guy that I'd worked with at DKNY, the store that I used to part-time at. And basically, I didn't even see him in the end. I'd made all of these other friends. But either way, I was in London on my own, living in this ex-council place in Mile End, which was very rough back then. We're talking 15 years ago now. It was just really crazy. And I see where the part of me that needed soothing was born, the part of me that needed help, the part of me that needed to distract, the part of me that was feeling lonely, that was feeling depressed, that was still holding the I'm not good enough, that was holding the I need to do more, I need to be better, I'm difficult. So I can't let people see this difficult side. So I'll just put perfect on the outside. I will dress well. I will be nice. I will be a good worker. I will prove that I belong. And it's exhausting. It exhausted me. And it led to frustration. It led to me not functioning properly. And then, of course, I was made redundant. And then it fueled the belief that I'm not good enough. So every redundancy, every rejection from a man was, I'm not good enough. I need to do more. I need to be better. Because they didn't accept me, it then reaffirmed the thing that I believed about myself that I didn't want anyone to know. And that honestly wasn't even in the consciousness of my mind. I didn't even touch this belief until I landed at 29, 30 in a huge experience, episode 2, that then had everything come up to the surface. Because at this point, I'm just cruising through this challenging life where I'm having all of these redundancies. I'm not trusting women. I'm being really hyper-boundaried with my friends. It's like, nope, you're mean, you're out. There was no ability to communicate what I was feeling because I couldn't even access that because it was so deep and it was so painful that I'd just be like, nope. Lens was like, she's not for you. He's not for you. Nope, these people aren't safe. So be difficult. And then you'll have conflict, but you've not nurtured how to resolve conflict and have great communication with people. So I was going through this wild experience where I was really great friends with people and then I would fall out with them and I would have this really great job and then I would be made redundant. And life was just really wild. So of course, what did Anna do? Because I couldn't understand why any of that was going on. Anna ate a lot. And then to rid myself of the guilt of all of the eating. I remember I used to have this thing. I'd leave work to working really, really hard. And I would go past Tesco's and I would pick up a few Kit Kat bars, a few bags of Walker's crisps, because I liked the combination of the two together. I'd go and make myself a really healthy meal, like a little sliver of fish and a little tiny bit of salad at the side. And I used to even weigh my spinach at this point. And then after I'd be finished with my food, which was super healthy in my eyes, I would then eat all the Kit Kats and all the bags of crisps in front of the TV, and I would just numb out. And then the next day I'd wake up riddled with guilt. So I'd go to my Virgin Active gym at Broadgate, and I would do the tread, do the weights, do yoga, swim a ton of lengths, and I would do anything so that I could release the guilt, the story that I could see so loudly of you're a pig, you're ugly, no one's ever going to love you, you're fat. I wasn't fat, like overweight. I was for sure carrying toxic weight 100%. It was like water retention. I was filled with cellulite at 22, 23 years old. I knew I could just feel that this was something that my body was responding to. And at that point, I thought it was the binge eating. This is my body responding to what a pig I was last night and how much Kit Kat I put in my mouth and how much I waffled down those Walker's crisps. And I didn't know back then that our body stores our emotions. I had no idea. It wasn't until I read this incredible book by Candace Pert called The Biology of Emotion, I believe it is. I'll pop it in the show notes. And I learned that our cells are carrying our emotions that have been repressed, the words that we never got to say, the tears that we never allowed to drop, the rage that we never allowed ourselves to roar. I didn't understand until I landed in the amazingness that this work is, that every single thing that we think about ourselves, every single emotion that we've held, if we haven't allowed it space and brought it to the surface, I realized that it was stuffed into all of the cells and our body will respond. Whether that is in the toxic weight, the water retention, the fatigue, the fearful mind going on overdrive, the overthinking, overanalyzing, or the late nights that you just can't get to sleep. Inflammation on your skin. I had 7 years of cystic acne and I never knew it then. I thought it was the food. I thought it was the calories. I thought it was because I was doing something wrong because I'm wrong, right? And then really getting into the space of having everything come up so loudly, the catalyst of my experience that unfolded. And there's been a few of those experiences. There's been these pivotal experiences in my life that have really allowed for everything like a washing machine to just start tumble drying and come out so that I can see what was the dirty laundry and what I can actually create as my life, you know? How I can clean myself from the inside, from the thoughts and the belief systems that I unknowingly took on from those experiences, you know? And this is the part where I really just want to allow you to be in this space of curiosity and wonderment almost, you know, of what it is that possibly you might still be holding. What is the belief or the story that you can see in your outside life, in the results in your life, that maybe there is an experience or something that you have, maybe it is a relationship with someone or your dating experiences, you keep experiencing the same kind of thing that doesn't feel good, and it is a pattern that life is showing you. And I want you to just really be, as we end and close out episode number 1 of Being That Woman, I want you to sit with the question. And the question is, what is the story that you're still holding onto that is actually holding you back from being able to live the life that you want and truly show up in the world being that true, authentic woman that you were always destined to be. But something, maybe an experience with your mum in the kitchen like me, or maybe it has been an amalgamation of tons of experiences with men that have left you thinking or believing a certain thing about yourself, but yet that story is underneath the surface. Maybe it is an amalgamation of a ton of different experiences that keep affirming that story, and you just haven't been able to really look at those experiences and see what the invitation is. See what the invitation is, what it's inviting you to bring forward, what it's inviting you to release emotionally, what it's inviting you to say with your voice, your powerful voice. So really just letting yourself be with that question. What story and or belief are you still holding on to that is stopping you and holding you back from living the life that you truly want to live and being the woman, the powerful woman that you were destined to be? I hope that you enjoyed this first episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for still being here. Thank you for letting me be in your ears. I would love if you found a story or an experience or an aha or something in this episode that really just deeply touched your heart. I would love if you would share this and tag me so that I can connect with you, and also leave a 5-star review. I would really, really appreciate all of the love as I start this journey. Thank you so much.